Well, surprise, surprise. College Football Playoff Selection Committee has some major egg on its face for what it's been doing to the Big 12. And Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark continues to completely transform the way the league actually fights back against BS narratives like what the committee has done to the league. Welcome into the channel. I'm John Kurtz. Here on this channel, we talk college football all day, every day from a non-Power 2 perspective. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not. Appreciate all of you who are here. So the Big 12 has been getting screwed by the selection committee. Arizona State, the highest ranked team at 16. And the worst part about that is that not only is Boise all the way up 5 spots above them, but you've got Tulane this past Tuesday coming in at 17, right? Just right there with the whole head of the pack of the Big 12, which made it seem like Tulane had the opportunity to jump the Big 12 champion and get the 5th and final auto bid spot, meaning the Big 12 could be left out of the playoff. It was crazy. Tulane has 2 losses. One of them is to K-State at home. It is crazy. Their strength of schedule, not in the same ballpark as the Big 12, but yet here we were. Okay. And Tulane goes down 34-24 at home last night to Memphis. Now, Memphis having a nice season. It's a 10-win team. Memphis is a very solid to good G5 team. But man, it is one thing to play this hypothetical game about SEC teams against the Big 12 and juxtapose that. I've got more coming later on in the channel about that, by the way. But it's quite another to be talking about these group of 5 teams as if their resume deserves the exact same treatment that the Big 12 does, man. Tulane was such a dumb case. And Boise, I think, is very, very off as well. But Tulane, let's run the tail of the tape here, right? Because when you do the hypothetical with the SEC and, all right, what happens if you go play an SEC schedule week in, week out? You can very much do the same with the Big 12, but it's not as hypothetical with Tulane because they played K-State and Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma, who was a Big 12 team last year, this year is a lower tier SEC team. Well, Tulane played at Oklahoma. They lost by double digits. It was a competitive game, but they lost by double digits at OU. They played K-State at home. They lost at home. So there's 2 Big 12 teams. We've seen what happened there. Now they get a Memphis team here who I can certainly understand you saying, all right, John, Memphis is pretty good. Memphis would be a decent team in the Big 12. All right, fine. We'll say Memphis, you can add that to that group. Like those would be 3 games that would fit on a Big 12 schedule. K-State, obviously, Oklahoma, lower tier SEC school. You want to call them middle tier Big 12 team this year. That's fine. And then same to Memphis, middle to upper tier Big 12 team. Well, there's 3 games that Tulane played against them. They're 1-2. They're 1-2. And man, they got handled by Memphis. They got handled. They were down by 17 until the late moments of that game. They got handled at home by Memphis. So they are 1-2 against basically a Big 12 schedule this year. And yet you were going to have them at 17 above everybody except Arizona State, man. Like, come on, get out of here. That was ridiculous. Now, hopefully this will come around with Boise as well. They're playing in the Mountain West Conference, which is rated by Sagarin as the 8th best conference in the country. The 9th best conference, by the way, is the American, where Tulane was playing in. Sagarin has the Big 12 as the 2nd best conference in the country. I would disagree with that. I don't think it's quite there, but the point is, computer metrics think the Big 12 is far, far beyond what those leagues are. The SEC is number 1, by the way, so there you go, a bow at the altar of the SEC. For now, you're definitely going to want to see UNLV in the Mountain West Championship game to get a rematch with Boise. And definitely, if you're a Big 12 fan, be rooting for UNLV in that situation. But look, the good news is, I think for Big 12 fans, that you're getting a lot of fight out of your commissioner on this whole topic and this issue, which is new. I mean, this is kind of like, I don't know what to do with my hands moment for Big 12 fans, right? The commissioner in the league is fighting for itself against these narratives. Brett Yormark reaches out to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports and had some very strong pointed words about the Boise situation. He said, based on where we sit today, I see no rationale for the Big 12's champ not getting a first round bye. The winner of our championship should receive a bye. I have a lot of trust in the selection committee, and I'm sure they'll see it that way. Just look at the data. The data doesn't lie. From a strength of schedule standpoint, all 4 of our schools at the top of the standings are ranked ahead of Boise State. The article would go on to say Yormark is loaded with Big 12 data points. All right. He comes ready to go with the data points. His league has 42 wins over teams with a winning record. The Mountain West has 11. 11. Okay. That's basically 4x the amount of wins over teams with a winning record. 9 Big 12 teams are bowl eligible. The Mountain West has 5. Boise strength of schedule ranked 81st, which is 12 spots behind the worst of the Big 12's top 4 teams, being Iowa State, who sits at 69. And even there, Iowa State has a win at Iowa, right? They went and beat what's probably going to be an 8-4 team out of the Big 10 on the road in their house. The Big 12 is 6-2 with an average margin of victory of more than 3 touchdowns in 8 games against the Mountain West this year. And Yormark pointed out in a quote, Arizona State beat Wyoming by 41 points, right? Okay, this is, remember, the Wyoming that the committee just told you, Ward Manuel, selection committee chair, told you, like, well, you know, people said in the room, it's a tough place to go play at Wyoming. All right, well, Arizona State played them at home, beat them by 41. BYU went on the road and smacked around Wyoming. It was no problem. No problem in Laramie. And that's a rivalry. Like, that's an old rivalry. So if you want to tell me, well, they're getting up for Boise when Boise goes in there and wins by 4, okay. It's a rivalry with BYU, and they got them to come to their place, and it was no problem for BYU at all. Yormark finishes again. There is no rationale for us not getting the bye. It's a very good thing for Big 12 fans. I don't know ultimately how much of a difference it makes, but it certainly helps. It doesn't hurt. And you are actually taking some preemptive strikes here against these BS narratives, which never happened. I mean, Bob Bowlesby did some good things, but that was not his MO. That was not what he was going to do. Dan Beebe certainly was the ultimate in being reactionary and never getting out in front of anything. That was the reputation of this league forever, was just being a doormat. You're going to get trampled on everybody and not fight for yourself. And Brett Yormark is doing that. And I've seen a lot of the sentiment of like, you know, that's just someone tweeted at me the other day. Oh, it's peasant stuff for the Big 12 to be worried about Tulane and the G5. It's the committee that put the Big 12 in this position. Like, you are in that position, whether you like it or not. You can call it peasant stuff. I would say it's more peasant stuff to just sit there and be like, yep, well, that's our place in the world below the G5. We'll just sit there and take it. No, you're not going to sit there and take it. You are fighting for it. You can either sit back and just let it happen, or you can actually do something and try to fight, especially when the data is in your favor here. So I love it. For example, what happened when July 2021, Texas and Oklahoma leave? Everybody is just assuming the Big 12 is dead. You've got Stuart Mandel running slanderous columns about the 8 schools left and their TV numbers. Like, all of these things are happening. And it would seem like, you know, people at the time are like, oh, you know, losers, Big 12 trying to stick up for themselves, saying they're actually worth something. Well, what happened? The Big 12 fought, and they outlasted the Pac-12, and they are still here and are in a much stronger position than anybody would have guessed at that time in July of 2021. May not be what you ultimately want, but it definitely helped to fight. And now Brett Yormark is here continuing to lead this fight. The SEC has been coming with some nonsense too, which I don't understand why they're even wanting to pick a fight with the Big 12 here at this point, but stay tuned to the channel for more on that. I will continue to address that. Trying to get you some extra content here since I missed a live show midweek with the Thanksgiving holiday, but I really hope all of you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right. Are you with Brett Yormark on this fight against the G5, or are you a Boise or Tulane fan who wants to fight back in the comments? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Like the video. Make sure you are subscribed. I appreciate you all. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.